Well, we've had visitors come, young children mostly, and they've seen a piece of coal and they just said, that'll not burn. But of course it will, won't it? My name is Richard Walls.
Peter Johnson.
Cliff Graham.
My name's Alan Grundy.
We're the volunteer-run group that operates Astley Green Colliery Museum. Astley Green Colliery is the last remnant and tangible signs of coal working in what was quite a hectic coal field at one time. Within 6 miles of here, there were over 40 collieries. And of course we feel it's important that that heritage is taken forward, because there are an awful lot of people around here from historic mining families who've not only had people working here, but also, particularly in other areas of the coalfield, people who have died pursuing this relentless search for coal.
The risk was minimised as much as possible, but going underground, there's always a risk. The worst thing that can happen is fire and explosion, and you can't get away from it.
Well, you've always, as a miner, you've always worked in what I would class as a hostile environment. When you're working below ground, nature is always trying to reclaim what you're taking from it. And if you take a typical mine tunnel, the roof is always trying to meet the floor and the floor meet the roof. So it's always been the second most dangerous occupation in the country.
A lot of people don't realise what mining is now, because what traces we did have all gone. They don't listen to what people say to them, and it's just a lost industry. But we're hoping to bring it all back to them.
Worked at this colliery from 1960 to 1972 as a colliery mechanic. Served an apprenticeship at Central Workshops. Came down here when I was out of my time. We have a part of the museum where they can see the early history of the coal field and coal mining in general, and gives them an idea what it was like. Well, the problem is now there's nobody. Since 1993, when they closed Parkside, there's nobody in this area now who works in the coal industry, so it's lost. So it's only like miners' children who'll know about it, and when they grow up and they've gone, they won't have a clue what it's all about.
It's the last place in Lancashire and Cheshire where there's still buildings standing, particularly the headgear, the mine tower, which we're very keen to preserve.
It's the last outpost of anything visible really in the northwest in terms of coal mining.
It's part of history.
I did 10 years with the coal board altogether. I was deputy engineer at Nook and St George's collieries. But I've had a long affinity with this colliery, and my father was under manager at number 1 here. And I used to come down here as a lad, and if it was a nice day, I'd go fishing in the pit lodges. If it was bad and anything interesting going on, particularly in the winding engine house, the unit engineer would show me around, tell me what was going on, and I used to enjoy it. That's from the age of about 9. So I've been close to that engine for a long, long time. But it still runs. It makes a lot of noise, and you don't get the smell of steam and oil mixed. It's not the same as compressed air and oil. But people enjoy it, and as soon as we get this compressor repaired, we'll be back in business again.
I enjoy seeing things come together and work again from what was once a derelict site back in 1970 when the mine closed. It was something like 13 years before we came on site, so we've had to start from scratch. And there's a great deal of enjoyment and satisfaction, particularly when we have school visits and youngsters coming on site. When I started 18 years ago, lots of children had relatives who'd been in the mining industry. Nowadays we get children who've never seen a piece of coal.
Well, I used to come down here Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays and Sundays. But now I'm down to Sunday. I'm not fit now. But the wife used to say, "Are you going down?" "Yes, I'm going down." She knew where I was. She could always contact me by phone. But when I used to get on site, find out who was doing what, right, I'll join them and work with them. Great.
I would hope that the small band of active volunteers we've got will be able to increase. We'll be able to develop the site in conjunction with the various funding organisations that we've hopefully got access to, and that we can make it a really first-class heritage site worth visiting.
So I don't know what's going to happen. Unless we get some new recruits, personally, this is me speaking, not the society, I can't see this continuing more than, say, 5 years, which is a pity.